Hi, I'm Doug Shigitano of TDS Media. I've been a videographer since I was 16 years old. I've shot for corporate shoots, network news, sports, web streaming, you name it. I've pretty much shot it at some point in time. And so I wanted to make a video on some tricks and some tips for getting a good shot for your web conferencing. So, you might be sitting at your laptop or using your phone to get on a web conference like Zoom or GoToMeeting or Skype, or, in this day and age, you might even be asked to be on the network news through your laptop. So here are some tips and tricks on how to get the best out of your web conferencing. So the first thing is lighting. And with lighting goes location. Where are you going to shoot? Where are you going to set up your web conference? So I'm in my dining room. I'm not doing anything fancy. I do have my professional camera that I'm talking to you on now, but I don't have any other lights. I just have the chandelier on. I have the drapes closed, so there's not like harsh lighting. You could probably see this side of my face is a little blue. This side of my face is a little more warm. That's because there's the natural light, the sun, which is a cooler temperature compared to the chandelier lighting, which is a warmer temperature. So, and there's like the glare on that picture. If this was a professional thing, I would never let that happen. But this just to give you some ideas of how you would set up in your own environment. So the reason I picked the dining room is because it is kind of big, it's bright, I can get some depth in the background of my shot. There's not a wall right here, so a lot of people have a desk and a wall right here. That's problematic because how do you get light? All the light is from the side and the back, and there's no light hitting the face. And that's what you really want, is nice, even light hitting the face. So you want to look for an area that has nice, even light. There's not like a spotlight hitting one side of your face and shadows. That's what you're going to want to look for. So doing it someplace where you don't have a wall and you have space and there's light infiltrating towards your face is your best option. Now, if you wanted to add some lighting, you can add some pretty inexpensive lighting. You can buy it, online or at stores and stuff like that. But you know what? Even something like this, the work lights we see at like Home Depot, it's kind of nice because it's got a little clamp on it. You just put in a bulb in it, and then since the new bulbs don't get hot, we use professional materials in our lights to cut down the harshness of a light, to soften it. That gets a better look. So you could just use tissue paper because these lights don't get hot, so you can actually cover this with tissue paper and get a soft look. Use some clothing pins. We have a very technical name for these, believe it or not. And you can clamp that, in front and get yourself 2 of them and shine your face. A low wattage, you don't need anything bright. Put a little of the tissue paper in front of it, and that'll cut down the light and also soften it up and give you natural lighting. So that's something you can do. But lighting is all about finding a good location, and with that you also have to think about the sound. So you can't go into a place that has good lighting but has horrible sound, okay? And don't shoot with a window behind you. That's the worst thing humanly possible you could do. Your camera is not going to be able to compensate for that. We use professional gear and lights and techniques to get that shot through a window. So don't even think about shooting through a window, have a window behind you, in that type of situation. So next to consider is sound. So you want to have good sound quality, right? So a lot of times you're probably just going to be using the mic that's either on your laptop, on your phone, and that does pretty good. And sometimes you'll get the feedback, when somebody else is talking and it kind of overlaps. So if you are just going to use the laptop sound or your built-in mic in your phone, you might want to wear an earpiece, something. Earbuds are great. These are little specific kind of designed earbuds because they wrap around the ear. But even if you use an earbuds and you use a corded one, the thing to do is get it in your ear. And then what the professionals do with their IABs, they don't have the cord hanging down here, right? You're going to throw it over your back, which might need a bit of an extender, which you can buy. But now it's kind of hidden. If I turn, fully to it, you can't see it since it's big, bright, and white. If you wanted to go really crazy, so if you're doing a lot of, fancy web conferencing, this is a professional IFB. This is what anchors wear and reporters wear on ear. In their ear. It used to be that these had to be custom made, but now they're kind of a one-size-fits-all, small, medium, and large. So you can buy these. They're not too expensive, but really if you just get an earbud or a wireless earbud and put it in your ear, that'll cut down, because then the mic is only picking up your voice and not picking up stuff. But I have a professional lav on going to mine, so that's why the sound sounds really good. You can buy lavs that work with your cell phone and plug into your laptops. You get them off of Amazon and various retail places. Just get one with a really long cord, because some of them only has like a couple feet, and you can get, if your laptop needs to be far away or whatever, that could be a little intrusive having that cord, because again, you're going to want it, because we put it down in a shirt. You see the cord doesn't hang out. It goes, clips underneath and goes down and then plugs in, right? So again, as I said in the lighting, you want to make sure you have an environment that you can control the sound. So you don't have background noise and stuff entering into your web conference and creating havoc. So think mindful of the sound and your sound space. Okay, so now we're going to talk about your camera, and what's most important is framing. And one of the most important things with framing is, where is your lens? Is your lens at eye level? So the camera I'm speaking to right now, I'm looking in the lens, which is always a good thing to do. But I have the height of the camera that the lens is at the same height of my eye. So I'm going to go to my laptop here, and I'm going to start it up so that I'm like in a web conference. And so now I turn and look at it, and you can see it's low, right? I'm looking down at it. I'm going to look up at the lens. I'm going to look down at it, right? And so it's not a very good angle, It's just not, unless you're a really big fan of double chins. I'm kind of not. So the best thing to do to stop this is to raise it up. So I'm just going to raise up the laptop, right? Books are a good thing because you can stack them and have different heights and take them and add them. I happen to have this that happens to work out really good. So I'm going to put this up here, adjust it. And so now that's pretty much at eye level for me. So it's a much better look than, what I had before. So as you can see, it's right at my eye level. It's up, but it's a much better angle. Now, the next thing is what's called the rule of thirds. And so you can Google it. There's a lot of information on it, but it talks about where to frame in the head, right? So if you see in this camera, my head is almost at the top of the frame. So I'm going to go back to my webcam here, and you can see I have a little bit of space up there. I might want to cut it down a little bit, which is always fun on a laptop. But that's better. So what a lot of people do is they kind of put the head in the middle, right? And so they kind of do one of these things, and there's all this like wasted space up above, and that's not really good. It's not a good look. So we want to kind of crank it down, which with a laptop is always fun. And so that's a good framing. So my top of my head is almost touching. And again, I'm looking at the lens. I'm not looking at myself. I'm not looking at somebody's talking to me. I'm looking at the lens, which is another key factor. The next thing to think about is your background, right? So, with lighting, we talked about, the background and the good lighting, but what is behind you? So if you have to have just a white wall or a neutral, wall, that's fine. But, depth of field, a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna look at that. So, over my shoulder, I just got that green wall. It's not that good. And so that's when you come and you move, right? Ooh, look at that. Oh, wow. See, That's much better. So I kind of just moved it around and created a much better look than what I had before. And so play around, before the web conference, play around, with a laptop, just pick it up and move it around and check some different angles and some different lighting and see what works best for you. So now let's talk about cell phones, right? So I'm going to put the laptop to the side here. Cell phones. So they're really good. They're a lot better cameras actually than probably laptops. The back camera is always much better than the front cameras, but at least when you use the front cameras, you can kind of see your framing. And the other thing about or cell phones is you can turn it on, put it onto that camera, and then use it as a guide, move around your house and find what's the best lighting option. So again, you want to do the same thing. You want to get it at a height level. So you might want to use a mount. So I got a mount here, put it at this height level, turn on the video, hit record here, and so here I am, and I got to look at the lens, and it's, it probably still needs to be higher, frankly, it needs to be higher, but this isn't a bad height, for a cell phone and a mount. I'd probably put some books underneath of it. Again, look into the lens, it's always weird. And then again, move it around, get it adjusted for the framing and the angle you want for the background. Look into the lens and you got a really good looking shot just from your cell phone, right? So, but one thing you don't want to do is first, you don't want to shoot like this. No. Our eyes are this way, they're not this way, so please keep it in the horizontal. But the other thing is sometimes people, they get on a ref conference and they do the handheld thing. Yes, a lot of reporters do this now, which is always weird. As a videographer, it just annoys me when I see someone talking to the thing and moving around to the point that I almost get sick, literally and figuratively. So the other thing you want to do is, this is, if you wear glasses, you're probably familiar with the eyeglass cloth. Make sure your cameras are clean, right? So you want to clean the lens. It's the same thing with a laptop. Clean the lens, make sure there's no smudges or anything on that would interfere. So hopefully that gave you some good advice and some tips and tricks for your next web conference. Now, we're here for you. We are a full video production company, full service, TDS Media, LLC. We, besides doing just like network news and single camera shoots, we are experts in live multi-camera production, especially web streaming it. I've been doing it for years and have done a lot of big web streams and live events, directing and producing. So we can help you. We can also help you remotely. So we can get you set up and give you the tips and tricks to use your laptop. We'll have your laptop send to our system, and then we'll mix it and put in graphics and mix in other remote guests. You'll be able to speak with them, and it'll go out to the World Wide Web on whatever platform you choose. So we have that ability that you can remote workly to us, or we can go on to your location and set up a town hall web stream conference. So please check us out. There's a lot of information on our website as well as examples of our work.